Oleksandr Usyk beat Tyson Fury in a split decision to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. In a great fight and an instant classic, and Usyk has now joined an elite club of fighters and he is holding every major title belt at heavyweight, and he's the first one to do it actually in the 4-belt era, going back to 2007. The last undisputed of course was Lennox Lewis when he beat Holyfield, yet he only could hold all the belts for 5 months. One of the reasons so hard to become undisputed is because with all those belts you cannot defend all of them, and sooner or later you will get stripped from at least one of them. So we'll actually see if this rematch will actually take place with all the belts on the line. If you saw my breakdown, my prediction was actually quite spot on, but to be truthful, I didn't see it coming the way it did. I picked Usyk to win in points and thought that he will drop Fury at least one time in that fight. That's the way it was actually. What I didn't think it would happen is that Usyk put in a kind of a soldier workman-esque like performance in here. He was the aggressor for most of the entire fight, and Tyson Fury was more looking to work off the back foot, try to get Usyk hurt and then maybe try to be more aggressive, but he stayed pretty much boxing the whole fight, and it was Usyk who was looking for the fight, and I kind of expected that Fury would be more willing to go at Usyk, especially when he has him hurt. Of course, congrats to Usyk to tidying up this mess at heavyweight for a long time. All the big three, they haven't fought each other as actively as we wished they would. We're all the time talking about who's gonna become undisputed, Joshua, Fury or whatever. And in the end of the time, it was just Usyk coming up from cruiserweight, unifying the whole cruiserweight division, coming up the heavyweight and doing the same thing again. Absolutely crazy achievement. But I'm 100% excited for a rematch because this was a very close fight actually. The winner of this fight, Oleksandr Usyk, won the fight by 2 rounds or 1 round on another card. And there were 2 swing rounds, which I think Usyk won, but one of the judges that had Tyson Fury winning had Fury, of course, winning in those swing rounds, and therefore had Fury winning by 1 point. I'm gonna look at this more closely in a second. Watching it live, I actually thought Tyson Fury did enough to win, and actually was kind of confused because I knew it was kind of close and so on, and that Usyk came on strong later, but I thought that Fury won actually more rounds than he actually did. One of the reasons Fury, I think he did this very much on purpose, was the excessive showboating he did, which if you watch a fight live and not just count every big shot, and you're more into the feeling of the fight, let's say that, and you watch it for entertainment, you think like Tyson Fury did better than he actually did. We're gonna go through the scorecards in a second. Another thing I wanted to mention is interesting that Tyson Fury is way more fluid and creative in the combinations than Usyk. I actually thought that Usyk would be much better at boxing at long range. I know Fury has the long reach, which was an incredible advantage in this fight, and one of the reasons why he did much better than Joshua. He could hold back Usyk a long time, and Joshua was never able to keep Usyk off him that easily. But Usyk didn't want to engage with Fury at long range at all, and always tried to push in, and he was quite the aggressor, and he was very effective with that pressure also. He was also always landing the body shots, and he was great at pressing Fury when Fury didn't want to fight, and this is how he also pressured Fury into the knockdown. So the fight, of course, even if it would have gotten on Fury's side, you couldn't say it's a complete robbery. And the way it turned out, I think the judges were actually looking at it and rewatching the fight the second time and rewatching the important rounds 4 or 5 times. I've come to the conclusion that I think the judges actually did a very good job, because if you think that this promotion on the whole side, the Saudis, the entire promotion, they wanted a Tyson Fury win, or at least we think so, that they want that result because they want Fury against Joshua. And the judges, they got it correct for the most part, I think. That's why I wouldn't call it a robbery. It was just a close fight, and Usyk got the swing rounds, and I think he also rewatching the swing rounds like 3 times. I think it's well deserved. I've marked round 2 and 11 as swing rounds, where Fury did catch Usyk with some great uppercuts and so on. Managed to get a decent amount of activity in, but it was Usyk who was outworking Fury in that fight, in that round, in those 2 rounds. And he also landed at the end of the round 2 left overhands, kind of stealing the round. So I would actually favor Usyk in round 2 and 11, and I think that's a fair thing to give him the round here. So let's go for the scorecards, my scorecards. I had Usyk winning the first 3 rounds. Fury was in there, but he was not doing enough, especially in the round 2. This was the closest out of those 3. Round 1 and 2, Usyk was immediately pursuing Fury, and he caught him clean with 2 left hands in those 2 rounds. Then Fury answered by showboating, of course. It's clear that the whole Usyk show isn't just a fluke, where Usyk just got lucky with this or that champion and then collected some belts and so on, and he couldn't do this back in the 90s or whatever. Look at how persistent he is with catching heavyweights with left hands. Like from the first round on, a guy with 7-inch reach advantage, and Usyk catches him in the first round with a full force blow to the head. You can't put this on as, say, Usyk is just good because this era is bad or whatever. I think someone like Usyk could well perform very greatly against other fighters like Holyfield or so on, and be in there and competitive and win or whatever, but we don't know. It's just a fantasy prediction, of course. But keep in mind that the likes of Fury and Usyk, they could well perform in other eras and do great there also, which makes this fight even better, to be honest. Thinking that we have some kind of a great talent in this generation. Then in the 4th round, the momentum of the fight really much changed. Fury kind of then figured out what Usyk is gonna do, and the best weapon for Fury was letting Usyk walk onto his right uppercut. The preview I said that Usyk probably is going to miss his uppercut, which he did in the first 3 rounds, because he wasn't setting it up, and after the 4th round he had a very good pattern where he would throw like 2 light jabs, act like he's gonna throw the left hook or throw a soft left hook through the guard, and then position Usyk to a right uppercut. And he did this successfully many times, and he also was good at showboating a bit or talking smack to Usyk, letting him walk in and then catching him with the right uppercut. It's a good combination, and I think this combination could be key for the next fight, and this pretty much continued till round 7. These are the rounds from round 4 to round 7. These rounds I gave to Tyson Fury winning. I think he broke Usyk's jaw in the 6th round. After the fight, Usyk went to hospital because of a broken jaw. And he also wasn't at the press conference after. And I think this happened probably in the 6th round when he caught Usyk twice with a right uppercut, which visibly hurt Usyk and then brought him to the back foot for the only time in the fight for 1.5 rounds where Usyk was on the back foot. And Fury had a bit of a chance to work on the body. If Fury had the gas tank, I think he should have committed in here because this was his best bet, I think. But of course Usyk recovered, and in round 8 he came much more composed. And he was very much aggressive against Fury, trying to take his head off. All the pressure, and I think Fury's gas tank was also then on the downside from punching all those mid-rounds that he won. And also technically, I think actually from this fight, I think Tyson Fury is the smarter and more ring IQ fighter of those two. And he's the much more intuitive fighter. I said this also in the preview before if you're interested. I've said many interesting things in that preview. Usyk has a very good adapting technically in a fight, and that's one of the main reasons he never lost. If he's down or lost 1 round or 2. If you give him 3 rounds here, he loses them. He will come out adjusting technically, immediately imposing himself. So in round 8, he caught Tyson Fury with a decent amount of shots, and one of them, the left overhand, was right on the nose and broke Fury's nose. Went then well for Fury because in the 9th round, a similar situation. This time Fury so Usyk attacked Fury, and Fury was kind of on the ropes, and he fought off the ropes, throwing this reverse 1-2, then I think the right hand, and then Usyk incredibly set him up with the right hook while Fury was throwing the combination, throwing the right hook. This looked like the hardest left hand that Usyk has ever thrown, and with that one he immediately turned off the switch on Fury, falling into the ropes, and I And you've all seen that round, of course. And I don't think we've ever seen Tyson Fury that hurt before. If he gets hurt again like this in the rematch, you have to imagine they would stop this round. And it was actually a wonder that they didn't stop that round, especially when he was just not defending himself at all, just nearly dropping and falling from one side of the ring to the next. Many complain, of course, because the ref then started giving him the 8 count when he fell against the last rope and at the end of the round where he nearly looked out and they counted him. It's not like that's a bad decision. It looks a bit biased, but that kind of a technical thing was always a rule in boxing where if the ropes catch you, you would have gone down instead. Then the ref needs to step in and count an 8 count, which, I mean, it's not my favorite rule, but it's always been that way, so I don't think that's too much complaining. And if Fury was so out of there, he would have went in 10th round as well. Fury actually managed to recover. Of course, he was kind of saved by the bell, but for 3 seconds that the ref could have sent him out earlier. Story of the next 2 rounds was kind of Fury recovering. The 10th round especially, but from the 11th round on, Fury was kind of more back here, which was actually surprising. Still not winning the round, but he was still, from round 11 on, he was fighting back again. And incredibly, Fury won the last round and finished kind of strong. So this is the story of the fight. I got it 115-112 for Oleksandr Usyk on points on my scorecard. And we're gonna take a short look at the official scorecard. And one judge actually had the same scorecard. Not the same rounds, a bit different. He had Fury winning. He gave the second round, the swing round, to Tyson Fury actually. Usyk winning the 4th round. But he had, interestingly, the same score as me. I think the reason why he gave the round 4 to Usyk is because he maybe then realized he made a mistake in judging round 2 for Fury. But every other round he has scored like me. So I think we are on the right path here. Then we have the one judge who had Tyson Fury winning. He gave it 115-113. Fury winning by 1 round. It is not impossible and not a complete bad scorecard, but you have to say it's kind of a biased scorecard when all these swing rounds you give to Tyson Fury, with Tyson Fury not, I'd say, being weaker in those swing rounds than Usyk. So I think, and he gave both of them. He gave round 11 and round 2, of course, to Tyson Fury. But it's a bit of a biased scorecard, if you ask me. Not completely terrible. He got the other rounds right, but still. And the third judge, of course, had it 113-114. Also in favor of Usyk, and this is a split decision for Usyk. He gave the 3rd round. He's the only judge who actually gave the 3rd round to Tyson Fury for some kind of strange reason. But this is the only difference to the first judge, and this is why it's 1 point closer. A split decision, I think, is actually a fair scorecard here. It's still a great fight. It's still a bit unsatisfying that there were these 2 swing rounds where if you get a different interpreter, you could have a guy still winning, having Tyson Fury winning. If you watched it just for like entertainment, you could have thought that Fury kind of nicked the fight, but then didn't get the decision. But in the end of the day, split decision is a fair thing, and we're gonna see the thing anyway. Boxing fans are too harsh with people losing, and they are still writing people off for no reason just because they lost a split decision. You should be glad that those guys fought and not moan about him losing, because that way we're never gonna see like some great fights. Another interesting thing, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the lighting and the camera matching and the color grading, they made the fight actually kind of look like an EA fight night, at least to me, and with very like cinematic colors. But it's a good look actually, and I think it fitted the event quite well. Another technical adjustment that Oleksandr Usyk made is when Usyk throws his southpaw 1-2, he often kind of missed when he threw it straight, and so in most of his left hands he connected, threw it more as a looping left hand. Often he would also miss with his first left hand. So he would double up basically his southpaw cross, a kind of combination that caught Fury nearly every time, and which also hurt him numerous times, bringing him on the ropes. It's a good combination, especially in round, I think it was round 8. It was one of the shots that made Fury a bit dizzy, and which led then to Usyk connecting with a bigger left hand, which broke his nose. I've seen some other fight reviews, of course, and some of the press, of course, like many Tyson Fury fanboys that said this was a complete robbery and so on, which of course it's not the case. And there are some, of the other hand, who let basically the hatred of Tyson Fury dismiss the good work Tyson did here in the middle of the fight. Tyson Fury didn't really make himself many friends when he avoided like the big fights for many years, especially this one where you could say that maybe he clowned Usyk around for like 1.5 years or 2 years nearly, where Fury just pushed this fight back to whatever until he can optimally prepare. But then he still lost, so especially on the cut, which is kind of dubious, a weird situation, but maybe it's a real injury, I don't know. I don't want to doubt that. And many of those like that hate Tyson Fury, they say he clowned himself through the fight, which I wouldn't agree. I mean, he showboated a decent amount, and this was to convince many of the judges and fans that he basically won those closer rounds or that more competitive rounds. And which again, I have to say, it was a close fight, and it is a fair case to be having a split decision. And let's hope the final fight is gonna be more dominant by either guy winning. If it is again a competitive fight, I have nothing against the trilogy. I mean, it was an amazing fight, so let's see. And you really have to think that in the rematch, Oleksandr Usyk is maybe gonna be even more aggressive in a rematch, because now he has nearly knocked out Fury. Is not gonna be as timid against him and maybe tries to put it on Fury earlier this next time. And I also think it's not completely over for Fury. I think there were many successful things in that fight, if you look at it this way, because the right uppercuts were a very good thing for Tyson Fury in that fight, and if he can maybe be a bit more elusive in the next fight. One of the issues with him, we talked also on the breakdown of the fight about this, is his unreactive guard. Tyson Fury, especially nowadays, is not really as elusive as he was, and especially with not adjusting his guard, it is a deadly mistake, which also led to many of the left overhands of Usyk. And if Fury can maybe fix up his defense a little bit and get a bit of a better reaction time, this fight would be even more competitive and have much more swing rounds than the first fight. Because in some of the rounds we'd have to think, if Usyk wasn't able to connect with that overhand, he wouldn't be able to throw this and that combination or move in here. On defense alone, Usyk had incredible defense, but in comparison, Fury was getting caught too easily and too often. If you think that he has the reach advantage, he should use it and not get caught silly with telegraphed overhand. In terms of fluidity, what I've seen from Fury, I really liked, and I think it's gonna be well worth thinking if Fury has another good training camp or so on. I think he could be much better in that fight, but let's see how his punching defense will be in the next fight. You have to think the amount of damage he has taken in that fight neurologically, it's not gonna be good in the next fight. He might get hurt even more easier. I mean, that shot Usyk connected with him, that might be the hardest shot Usyk has ever thrown in his career. So I think that would have knocked even out many other guys. And if Usyk connected that left hand on Joshua, he would have been completely out. He would have been out cold. Either way, this has been it. I thank you for listening. If you're interested, I will do a breakdown of the whole card. I don't think it would be worth posting on YouTube anyways, so it would be on there if you sign up, of course. As cheaply as it is, you will get a lot of history footage. I've recently worked on Marciano and so on, and hundreds of other videos, so it's well worth checking out. You can cancel anytime, sign up cheaply and check it out or try it for free. Either way, thank you for listening. I see you in the next video.